Hello everyone, welcome to week 10 of the ladder season. I am here with MadMan.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? With an awesome background you've got going on there.
Yeah. It's the town I studied in. If anyone finds out today, then let me know.
Okay, so that's a challenge already. Brilliant. No, I love that. So we've just finished week 10. Let's have a look at the week 10 placings quickly. Micro Machine again, top of the pile. Genspot second, 3 Oliver in third. You come fourth this week. Good improvement there.
Yeah, thanks. It worked, fortunately.
Yeah, so that's good. So let's go to the overall rankings. We can get them up. Micro Machine is now a long way ahead, on 300 points. I'm not sure if he can even be caught. Yeah, I think he can still be caught if he loses every game. So hopefully. So you're up in seventh. I think you should be fairly safe for tournament qualification at the moment, but there is 4 guaranteed spots next week. So maybe get into that. Certainly, if you repeat your performance from this week, you should be more than safe. So that'd be good.
Yeah, hopefully I can make it.
Yeah, that'd be good because you finished fourth last time, or was it third last time? Wasn't it?
Third.
Yeah,
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 I was in the final match, or the losers final match against Freeway Lover, and fortunately I won 3-1, I guess.
yeah. Oh, that was a great performance there. So
Yeah, was quite lucky, but also
yeah,
nice.
that was pretty good. So yeah, where did kind of like the idea for MadBot start? I'm guessing the name comes from your name. You call yourself MadMan, obviously. So
Yeah. So the name is quite straightforward. The idea was just I played StarCraft 1 a lot when I was younger, so almost 20 years ago now. And I always was interested in StarCraft 2 as well, but not that much into it. And then I had to learn Python. And I usually learn something like that better when I find something that is also interesting to me. So I was looking for projects that I could solve with Python that interest me. And then I noticed that StarCraft 2 offers the API and also a library which can use Python. And yeah, so that's why I started the bot, just to learn Python and have something that's not too lame or too uninteresting to do that.
yeah, well, it's certainly been very interesting so far, and use a lot of TensorFlow as well. I think you're one of the few bots that actually do some proper machine learning techniques.
Yeah. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to learn Python, because of TensorFlow, because that's the go-to framework for a lot of AI research, and yeah, that's why I was choosing
Cool,
Python and TensorFlow.
awesome. So should we take a quick look at one of your games? I think we have the one versus Gensybot on, which we might
Yeah,
put on first.
yeah,
So just
sure.
have that one loaded up. Give me a shout as soon as you've got that loaded, and then we can start. Basically,
Yeah.
just get
So
to the
we,
start.
we stop at 0 and then
Yeah,
count down
yeah.
to
Just load
1.
in, press P to pause the
Yes.
game, and then we start. Unfortunately, there's not an easy way to sync up the streams other than doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, I just got logged out from the client, so just telling to. But yeah, so has your placing in the last tournament inspired you to do a lot more work on the bot, or have you?
Yeah. So the I haven't worked that much on the bot for a long time, but then I got 2 weeks of staying at home because I had to recover from a surgery. And during that time, I was able to rework most of the bot in the Sharpie framework. And
Yeah,
that framework is awesome, I have to say, especially for Protoss bots, because it makes everything so much easier. You don't have to care about all the small things like micromanagement and everything. It's you can really focus on everything
yeah,
that you want to do with your bot.
yeah. It's very well, and like Infi's done put a lot of work into that, and it's
Yeah.
worked out really well. So yeah, have you got that ready now?
Yeah. Game
Cool.
is loaded.
Go in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I need to put the game capture on. So that should be on there. Okay, so you're up in the top right here with
Yep.
Gensybot is our constant number 2 bot at the moment. Um, yeah, so do you have like win rate against different races? What's your favorite race to play against?
I guess my favorite race to play against is other Protoss bots because it's quite straightforward most of the time, and they are not too. Yeah, I would say there's nothing too special or weird coming up
Yeah,
besides tier. Tier's bot is a special thing, but it's mostly straightforward, and you don't have to make that much adjustments to your standard builds.
yeah. So I see you got a nice little scout out early. So, and one thing I know that your bot does is it basically tries to scout and see what the opponent's doing, and then gives a kind of like initial strategy, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the main features of the bot. So it usually always scouts after the first pylon is set and keeps on scouting until the 2 minute mark, essentially, because then usually the cybernetics core has finished, and then the decision how to go on with building what buildings, uh, is there a rush incoming? Can I make a rush and end the game fast, or do I have to expand to go into macro game or whatever? This is the first decision in the game. Then there.
Yeah. So I see you've just come out with it saying two base robo, 89.91%.
Yeah.
So
So the numbers you see there are basically the outputs of the neural networks that are evaluating the scout information it got from this probe, from this initial probe scout. So it's counting how many workers does the opponent have, how
yeah,
many barracks, for instance. Are there already 3 barracks? Then maybe a rush is coming in. Is there just one barracks but 2 command centers? Then the opponent is going for a macro game, and so on and so on.
yeah,
So this is putting all into the neural networks, and the numbers there are the evaluation of the numbers for win outcome and for lose outcome for all 4 different strategies, and then all the numbers are put together into a majority voting, and the majority wins then there. If
yeah.
all strats are bad against a certain opponent, then the least bad is chosen, and if all strategies are okay, then the best of those is chosen.
Yeah. So, do you have like a build that's the strongest, or is it just
I
kind of like
guess I
pretty?
guess percentage wise for just winning is the 4 gate, because a long time there are a lot of greedy bots that were just expanding, or even younger bots that are not too well adapted to the current meta, are just greedy and cannot hold the a good 4 gate push, because it's quite aggressive and you have to prepare your bot against
Yeah,
that to hold it. So this usually has the highest win percentage. But lately, this 2 gate robo, this 2 base robo build is also quite successful against a lot of.
yeah. But I
Yeah, like
mean, like, who around here would run a 4 gate, right? Nobody, nobody. If anyone doesn't know, my bot does run 4 gates quite a lot. Um, but yeah, so that's going to change pretty soon, then.
yeah, it's also I guess the most picked build order by the neural network, because it just wins
Yeah.
the most against other bots. Yeah.
So how many builds do you have in total at the moment?
So currently there are 4 different builds activated, but I have some more that could be activated anytime. But
Mm,
the thing is, usually I have to make a lot of games with those other builds in order to train the neural networks,
yeah,
to properly choose them against the right opponents. And that's a hassle that I cannot take care of right now, because a lot of bots are not downloadable currently, so I cannot train the neural network locally against it. And having it playing on the AI Arena ladder or on the SC2 AI ladder, there are just not enough
Yeah, you can't
games
get enough
played
games in.
to
Yeah,
to um, to train more than 4 different builds.
yeah. No, so you do a lot of like local training on your own machine then? Or,
I did back then when there were more bots downloadable. For instance, I guess
yeah,
last season or the season even before that, when you had to make your bot downloadable in order to participate in the tournament. That was absolutely great for me because I could just download all the bots, ran 24/7 games, and then I was quite sure that the optimal strategy was chosen there.
yeah. I think the only issue with that is like a lot of people will make big updates to their bots for the tournaments and stuff. So it's not always 100% reliable, but
Yeah,
it's a pretty good
sure, sure.
indication. So it's something that I'm considering for this tournament as well, because having the last tournament when we done the server games was problematic. So we'll see anyway.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, but the discussion about having it downloadable or not, or this goes on for years now, and yeah,
yeah,
there are all pros and con arguments already
yeah. It's one of the biggest
out
headaches I
there.
have is like you just can't satisfy everyone because like
Yeah.
people will complain about one thing or the other, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so. I
Okay,
mean,
so there's something happening in the game.
yeah, you got a little push out now. So when do you decide when to push out? Is that a specific timing, or is
Yeah, the timing should be when the leg speed upgrade for the zealots is finished. So I have
ah,
charge slots, and
so
usually there are 3 immortals and 1 warp prism ready.
yeah. Oh, it
And the good
looks
thing here is Gensibot is moving out as well.
yeah, across the other side of the map.
Yeah,
It's a bit
because
slower though.
yeah. So usually with the army I have here, I can break his defense in about half of the times, I guess.
Yeah,
But
but
when he's moving out, then yeah,
it doesn't
it's
look like
even
he's coming back. So this might be kind of a base trade situation here. It's
yeah.
but the problem is all of those units are just stuck there behind the two stalkers.
Yeah, that's one thing that is on my to-do list for I guess more than a year right now.
Yeah,
Moving up that bloody ramp when we can, but it's harder to implement than it might seem.
yeah. Oh god, yeah. So I think we are getting into like full base trade situation. It looks like you might win this. Certainly you got more buildings there to take out, but you just need to get up that ramp.
Yeah, hopefully Jansi does not lift because if he does and just float around there with CC, for instance, then it will take
Yeah.
longer. Oh, I'm
So
actually
you pull
moving
him
back
back.
now.
Yeah. So I don't think this is a good choice. But
Yeah,
because
so the army movement and the decision for the army what to do is just default Sharpie framework.
yeah,
Adjust adjust adjusted the weights for the decisions for certain strategies there. For instance, when I'm in the 4 gate strategy, I'm
yeah.
just going in there no matter what. I don't care if I can win or lose, it's all in.
Oh, and it looks like they've taken on the army here, but the Gensi's bot army
Uh,
actually turned around to face you rather than finishing off the
yeah,
base.
they are on the ramp, but
Oh,
I think I can clean that up.
yeah, yeah. No, I think you should have this now because
Yeah,
I think if Gensibot would have just turned around and finished off those buildings, I think he would have been in a lot of trouble. But no, it
yeah,
looks like you've still got some units over there. So
yeah. I think he could have won the base race if I wouldn't have gone back, or if he just floated away or something like that.
yeah,
But this was quite lucky for me this time. Yeah, Genzi bot is really a really good bot, so
yeah,
it's not hard to win against him, and I'm quite happy to have even a 50% win rate against him.
yeah.
That's more than I could hope for.
So there you have it then. But yeah, Gensibot is probably certainly number two at the ladder at the moment.
Yeah, for a
So
good reason, I guess.
yeah, and it's just that one little bot ahead of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, it's a very good game. But yeah, I think you were saying earlier about like how does your bot like make decisions and like during the game essentially? Is that all sort
Hmm.
of like just based on sort of like Sharpie framework, or is that?
Yeah, so the decision making, I coded myself and put it on top of the Sharpie framework. So the Sharpie framework allows you to make build orders quite easy
Yeah,
and connect the build orders into or separate it into different parts.
yeah,
And then you could switch from one part or the other based on the status of a variable, for instance. I'm just setting this variable to 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on what my neural network says is best at the current situation.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so making decisions within a game itself, it's just not the kind of like the initial kind of like build order kind of like decision. You're also kind of like using the neural network to make decisions within the actual game itself. Or
Now, I would love to. There's currently there's just one decision process going on, and that's the decision at the 2-minute mark of what bigger build order strategy I'm going to pursue during the game. But then there is not too much decision making after that.
yeah, well, that's good. Um, but yeah, I think so. Shall we have another look at a different replay? Um, But
Sure.
yeah, it's quite an exciting base trade situation there. You don't often get that because bots quite often they will kind of like if they see another army at their back at their gates, they'll just come straight the way back. But Gently bot doesn't seem like that, and obviously you didn't take that decision either.
Yeah,
So
because it's hard to decide there. It
yeah,
could lose you the game going back. It could lose you the game staying at the base.
yeah,
Are the parameters to decide for the bot? It's really hard to tell.
it's one of the hardest things about making a bot certainly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's have a look up against. I think should we go for the one versus sharpened edge? Have a look at
Yeah,
that one.
sure.
Cool. And we'll get that loaded up.
So Sharpened Edge is basically the mother of Mad
Yeah,
AI currently because this is the mother of the Sharpie framework.
yeah. So it's pretty much mother against rebellious daughter.
Yeah,
Not that you don't know anything about that. Give me a shout when you're ready to go.
I'm loading up currently.
Cool. Uh, yeah.
Okay, ready to go.
So going in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So looks like you're down here in the bottom right. Both
Mhm.
Protoss bots. Sharpie up there in the top left. Um, but Sharpie plays all the races with the framework, doesn't it? So I know.
Yeah, but it's more tuned for Protoss because that's what Sharpened Edge is and what Sharpie evolved from, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, it currently also putting a lot of effort in for adapting it to be used for Terran and Zerg as well.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's something that I've considered actually is moving to Python. Like running on C++ is beginning to be some hard work, and like
Yeah,
the Sharpie framework is definitely really good to use at the moment. So I'm very tempted just to try that out and start using that instead. But it looks like Sharpie wants to start with a cannon rush. Oh
yeah.
god. I,
He's starting to use that strategy quite a lot recently for some reason because it just works for a while, I guess.
yeah. It's very hard for bots to hold it. But I'm
Yeah,
not sure you quite obviously see this coming on, but you don't see the one at the bottom at the moment.
yeah. But that one on the bottom isn't too scary if I can kill all those on the front. And now I could uh,
Yeah.
lock out his one probe and kill the other probe, so he has no probe on the high ground anymore. And
He can't get
that's
up. Yeah, it's complete walling.
yeah. He wants to build a cannon again and again up there, but he can't because he cannot get in there.
Ah.
And the
Uh,
neural network already decided to go rush defend, which is good
yeah.
against that.
So he's going to be able to get in there in a minute, but obviously
Yeah,
the cannon's taking
there's a
the.
zealot already, and
Yeah.
now our shield battery is being put down. And yeah,
So
he can try to put a pylon up there again, but
yeah.
there's nothing.
So now you're in a
I
pretty
guess
good position. Like you've got 22 workers of 17. He's wasted a lot of minerals in
yeah.
terms of getting there, and you've got the big tech lead because you've already got
Mm.
Cybercore up.
But he's doing quite a good follow up with making a expansion there,
Yeah.
because he knows now it's all or nothing. And the thing is, I should punish him as fast as possible now, I guess.
Mm.
But the neural network decided to hold for a while because it detected a rush, which it was, and now the answer is turtle for different for some time, and then try to finish him with dog templars, and
Yeah.
that will take a while. And I'm afraid until the DTs are finished, Sharpened Edge has already catched up quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, you basically want to kind of like distinguish the kind of like unit rushes, such as the Zealot or Stalker rushes, from
Yeah,
the kind of like cannon rush kind of like
yeah.
strategies.
What I need
Where you,
now is another decision. So, for instance, take the sentry, make a hallucinated phoenix, fly it over to the enemy, look what the enemy is doing, and based on that, adapt the current build order.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the plan, and I haven't done that yet because time. But yeah, that would be, I guess, the go-to strategy in the current situation.
Yeah, so you got the Dark Shrine on the way, so that's good. Um, with Dark Shrine, do you just kind of like send the Dark Templars across, or is there any kind of like warp prison plays you can do
No,
on that?
it's just Dark Templars, send them into the mineral line and kill
Yeah,
as much probes as possible, and
murder
do
everything you
the
can.
damage to tidy up with the rest of the army.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, Sharp Edge is getting a few adepts out, but not really much there. Just now starting with
Oh,
the Stalkers.
plus one attack upgrade quite finished already, so that's also not too bad. But
No,
if you have a forge already, so it's just reasonable to do the upgrade as well.
yeah, so
Ah, so
just
Meta, he's morphing Arkans because I guess he saw that the enemy has a photon cannon and is afraid that the DTs will be detected. So it just don't use DTs at all. It
yeah.
just goes Arcan
I
all the
mean,
way from
there
the
is
beginning.
there isn't any photon cannons down here, so
Yeah,
yeah,
but it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter where the photon cannon is. It just sees, oh my god, photon cannon.
yeah.
No, 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 no.
So does this build order ever try and expand down there, or will it just kind of like rush
No,
up?
it will never expand,
Ah,
unfortunately. So it's all in from here, because usually for what this build order is against, it's other four gates from Protoss, or 12 Poos from Zerg, or Marine rushes from Terran. And usually those bots that rushed Mad AI do not have a follow up either. So cleaning up with DTs
yeah,
work most of the time, but yeah, maybe this time not, because I guess Sharpened Edge is already
Yeah, I see you've got this
quite in good
Phoenix running around, sort of trying to get some more info about what
Yeah.
it's facing. How do you use the info from that? Because that's different from the info you get
So
from.
that Phoenix at this point in time is just to evaluate, can I attack now, or am I absolutely behind, or is there anything fancy going on that for which my unit composition has to be adapted, for instance. And if this is the case, then yeah, I would
Yeah.
attack later. But since that's not
Seems
the
like
case currently,
going for it now, though.
yeah, unfortunately the zealots are a bit too far ahead of the rest of the army.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any like vision there for shot. Oh yeah, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, he's pulling the probes already.
Oof.
The Archon is making good work with the probes. That's quite nice.
Yeah. It looks like these stalkers down here have probably got the edge on that, though. That's obviously a hallucinated Archon down there, so
yeah,
they're still pretty good.
I'm afraid the +1 upgrades. He already has +1 armor as well.
Yeah.
Are making a huge difference here. And then there's another immortal. Yeah, that will clean up the rest of the stalkers.
Yeah, it looks like it's in trouble here.
He cannot do anything again. It's the observer there.
Yeah, there's the observer there. Yeah.
Yeah, nice hold there from Sharpened Edge.
Yeah,
I
that
guess.
was.
That's it.
So yeah, there's not much of a follow-up really here from you, I'd suggest.
Yeah. So answering the question of Ref in the chat, does MadAI has macro builds? It does have this one macro build, which is the 2-base Robo build. But yeah, that's not too much macro. It's more like a nice mid-game timing push, and it doesn't do more macro than that. So no Colossi, not anything else. It does expand. If the main is mined out, it does a third expand so that it can go on forever with 2 bases, but nothing more than that.
Yeah. So I've noticed one problem that like MadAI's had sort of like for a long time, almost a few seasons now, is when it finishes its build order, it will just stream units across the map, sort of like almost one by one.
Yeah.
Have you got any plans to fix that one at all, or you?
Yeah, so that's also an answer to Ref's follow-up question. I do have plans on implementing a full macro build, but it's not. So it's definitely easier than before since I'm using the Shopee framework now. But currently, I do not have any time to work on the bot and implementing new build orders, because implementing a whole new build order always needs to be trained for the neural network to make the decision, and that's also time consuming as well there. So it's definitely top on my to-do list to have that, but since it's hard to even get in the late game, because everything before that has to work as well.
Yeah.
I didn't focus too much on that in the last year.
But that's cool. So yeah, it looks now as if Sharpened Edge is really taking a solid lead.
Yeah, anytime he will go over to my base and just clean it up. So
yeah.
I don't think there's anything I can do to win that game.
No, especially with the just on a single base now, and you're pretty much getting near to mining that out. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think Sharpened Edge is going to come across.
Yeah, I guess you can just fast forward.
Yeah, should we fast forward this a bit?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, sharp edges have consequences, guys. As we see. Yeah, he's going to take a little while getting through your defences here, but yeah. Do you have any logic to get your probes to come out and help the defense, or are they just gonna sit there and?
Yeah, I have logic, especially in the early game, because most of the time the probes can make a difference there. It's just slightly adapted from what the Sharpie framework offers.
Yeah.
So there is a default probe defense logic in the Sharpie framework, and I adapted that a bit for my purposes.
Cool. So yeah, I think you had like a couple of things here which help explain the choices of Mad AI. If you want to show those, or...
Yeah, sure, you can bring that up quickly.
So yeah,
And
I think we've got the plan choice here. So essentially, talk us through this.
yeah, so we start at the left side of this graph, which is the early game, which is the same for all of the games. And then after the 2 minute mark, there is a choice made between three different, guess, core strategies. It's just defend against the rush, which is the build order you saw in the last game, or do an expansion, which is the build order you saw in the first game, or do a 4 gate rush against another greedy opponent, for instance, and then finish it. So this is what's most of the stuff what's currently implemented. This first major choice there for the three different major paths that a game could take, I would say.
Yeah.
And this is what's implemented, and then I can go on. Or a game usually follows, like, for instance, if a rush is successfully defended, I can finish my opponent
Yeah.
directly, or the opponent is turning himself and I have to dig him out with something. Or if I did expand, I can make a robo, or I can make a Stargate, or whatever. So this is then the follow-ups. And
Yeah.
the follow-ups also would need a form of decision making. What's the best strategy for the current situation of the game? And unfortunately, this decision making isn't implemented yet. So this, what you see here, is just the game plan for the final Meta AI that
Yeah.
will eventually be available in, let's say, a year or so.
Hopefully in the
And
tournament, right?
yeah, hopefully.
So yeah,
And when you
I
when
think
you go to the next
yeah.
graph there, then this is, yeah, the
So
one with the red crosses. Yeah, this
is
is
is this the
this
one
is
that's currently
what's,
implemented? Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, currently implemented there. So you can see everything that's crossed out is, yeah, work in progress right now. So after I defended the rush, which is the top weight there, there's just finish with DTs, and the follow up, which would be expand and everything, is not implemented currently.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, when I'm going for a 4 gate, and the 4 gate is not successful because the enemy was able to hold the 4 gate, there should be a follow up for an expansion and then a macro game. But also, this is not implemented. So if the 4 gate fails, then it will just stream units across the map until the enemy is finished or not. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, kind of like say, Sharpie should help a lot with that, and kind of like building into more
Yeah,
macro
definitely.
games and stuff
So
like that. So yeah,
before Sharpie implementing all those red crosses there would be an extreme hassle, which would take me tens or hundreds of hours work. And now with Sharpie, it's a lot
it's
easier to
it's a
do.
lot easier, but it's still quite a lot of work to
Yeah,
do that.
it's
So
still
it's not it's not
tens of
easy.
hours, but not hundreds.
Yeah, but that's cool. Like, hopefully you get that implemented pretty soon. Like I say, tournaments coming up pretty quickly. Got a few more weeks yet. So
Yeah, I'm afraid maybe one of the red crosses will be not will be implemented there for the tournament, but certainly not all.
yeah, well, that's cool. So I just have a look at the match up against. Should we go for the? Which one do you want to go for next? I was going to have a look at the one against Mech Sweep. Uh,
Max sweep, all right.
if that's good with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, give me a shout when you got that loaded up. But yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds
so
like there's a good plan there for improvement anyway. So
yeah, so the to-do list is always quite long, but I guess you know that.
so Raf, so next week. Just Raf's asked the question in chat.
Yeah.
Can you be more precise about when the tournament is? So next week is the final week of qualification, and next Sunday will be the group draw. Following that, you'll have 2 weeks to sort your bots out, and then the tournament will start. So the tournament will start in 3 weeks. And the couple says, how often do we have tournaments? So tournaments take about 14 weeks, and then we'll probably have a few weeks off. But I will announce more of that after the tournament. But anyway, are you ready on the game?
Yes.
Okay, I will put that up. Game starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Mech Sweep is one of the newer bots on the ladder. Have you had a lot of training against that yet?
Yeah, so fortunately, on the AI arena ladder, the bot is also active, and I got to have, I guess, a couple of hundreds of games against it. And it usually plays quite straightforward, and as the name suggests, it's mech. And so I guess I have enough training data already available to make a proper choice of the build order against that bot.
Yeah. Although it says it's mech, although I did notice on the ProBots build it did use a bio
Yeah,
build.
it was quite successful in the last probots,
Yeah,
but I guess most of the strategies were in probots were also mech.
yeah. So let's just scout out again. He's someone that doesn't particularly like to scout next week. He'll just go for the same build order a lot of the time. So yeah.
Yeah, but he's sending out an SCV here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one was coming across. You often find that a lot of bots will send out sort of like scouting workers and not really use that scouting information. It's one of the things I think you do particularly well.
Yeah.
Um,
Against a lot of bots, it's also okay to just look if there's something fancy coming up, some cheese or anything. If not, you can just play up your straightforward game.
yeah.
Okay,
So
now we have the Sky Toss.
there we go. 90. Is that 7? So what are these numbers specifically? It's
Yeah.
90.21 to 70.
So the 90.21 is the chances of winning with that strategy compared to all the other strategies.
Yeah.
So in 90% of the games, when Sky Toss is chosen as compared to all the other strategies, it's winning. But the other numbers there were for losing the game as well. So the second number is what percentage, as compared to the other build orders, the build would lose.
Yeah.
And that is done for two different neural networks. And then the majority voting is going to take place.
That's pretty cool.
So with that numbers we got there, the Sky Toss is a quite straightforward, not too ambiguous choice.
I think we can show the log of that there.
If you
So,
press enter, I guess it's up
oh,
there
yeah.
again.
Yeah, sorry. So it's 17.5 to 21 and then 8.24.
Yeah.
So
So as you
yeah,
can see, for the rest of the rest of the build orders, for instance, two base robo, the last number there, -11, is most of the times when two base robo is chosen, it loses with this strategy.
yeah.
And if the number is negative, it loses more than it wins with this strategy. And when the last number is positive, it wins more with this strategy as compared to the others.
Okay, well that's cool. So where does the 3 neural networks come in? Is that like?
Sorry,
So
where
how did you get to kind of using 3 neural networks? So on that one.
Yeah, so I was using one in the beginning, and that didn't work too good because sometimes the choices were just weird for some opponents and really good for others. I couldn't figure out why. And then I experimented with other architectures and uh, inputs and everything, and I couldn't find one neural network that was good against all the other opponents. Some were good against one and some were good against others. So I was just lazy working on those architectures more, and decided to, why not take all and make the best average out of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it currently is.
So with the inputs to the neural network, is it just kind of like the results of the game you use, or do you use any other kind of data to
Yeah,
inform?
so the input is just everything that has been scouted at the 2-minute mark, and the result of the game, if it's a win and it's a loss.
Okay. So yeah, I think you finally got an answer to these Reapers now. It's the Tempest out.
Yeah, as soon as the first Tempest is out in that build order, I'm quite comfortable.
Yeah. At this point, I think Mexweep tries to get some Vikings out, which is a pretty good answer.
Yeah, so for instance, when I'm training this build order against Jancy bot, Jancy usually answers with a lot of Vikings, and his Viking unit control is also really good,
Yeah.
and he just demolishes me.
Yeah, we
So
saw that in the last ladder tournament against Micro Machine, where he just absolutely destroyed like all of the battle cruisers of Micro
yeah,
Machine.
yeah.
Yeah,
So he really has a great decision making of when to engage with the Vikings. That's a key aspect there.
yeah. But yeah, it's something I often find with Protoss. The problem is the other races have very good answers to the Tempests, whereas Protoss doesn't really have that kind of like solid answer there, like a Viking or um,
Yeah. So in theory, Void Race can be quite good,
yeah,
but you have to get near to the tempests, and thanks to the bot and the great micro capabilities, um, getting near a tempest is quite hard.
yeah. Especially Void Rays, certainly compared to Vikings, are quite slow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So I guess Meta AI is moving out typically when the first attack upgrade for air weapons is done, or
yeah. So I think you're almost there.
yeah,
There we go.
yeah, there we are.
So that's good.
And charge is also almost ready for the zealots there.
Yeah, so you got a nice bit of ground army as well.
Yeah, the zealots is just mineral dump
Yeah,
for the floating minerals, but they can make the difference.
oh yeah, like so those are pretty good, especially in something like this. They can take out the ground units that want to target your Tempests.
Yeah, but against that planetary fortress there, yeah, the zealots won't last long.
No, I think at this point you just need to take out all the SCVs around there and then go for it.
Yeah, they are working on the SCVs as well.
Yeah. So I think the problem you have here is that Thor as well, which is very good against Tempests. And obviously those tanks at the bottom there don't really know what the hell to do.
Yeah. I'm not too happy with the target decision of the Tempest there currently,
No.
but
I think you need to get that Thor down. As soon as you get that Thor
yeah,
down, then
definitely. Tempests are also nicely clumping for the Thor.
Yeah. Although it might be on the high damage mode, so it might not be dealing as much AoE damage as it could
Yeah,
do.
I see.
Yeah. I think the good thing is you're taking out quite a lot of the workers of next
Yeah,
week. It will just continually send more workers, but you'll...
yeah. If I'm just able to establish my position there and taking out all the workers one after the other,
Yeah.
I think I will be able to.
I mean, you might even be able to get a few shield batteries down just underneath them, and then...
Yeah, that would be awesome. But then the tanks would be
yeah,
coming into the
yeah,
game.
you're right. Yeah, it's one of the builds I used to use on ladder a lot. Was just mass Tempest.
That nasty Thor is already on 9 kills,
Wow.
and I guess that were all Tempests.
Yeah, most of them probably would be. I don't know. A few of them might be zealots like that one there. Oh
Yeah.
wait, you didn't kill him.
Could you finally die, please?
There you go. Take him out.
Yeah, I guess now I've settled the attack, and that should be it.
That's going to be very difficult, especially on even base count. And even if he tries to throw some more workers away like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Thors and certainly Cyclones are very good answers to Tempests. But
yeah, definitely. So Terran should have quite few answers that could work well.
Yeah. But at the moment, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make any because he's not got much minerals left in the bank.
Yeah.
And
maybe if he didn't invest into the fourth base on the top there and made another unit production center for air units or whatever, starport.
Yeah, just more Vikings and Thors.
Yeah,
that would have done it as well. But yes, so I might fast forward your victory here.
Yeah. Just cleaning up.
GG. Yeah. The more than extensive cleanup against these guys. But yeah, no, that's a nice build order there. It's very deadly actually having you get those Tempests out really early, and it's pretty scary.
Yeah, but you have to do that early because otherwise the enemy will be too much ahead and able to adapt fast.
Yeah, there we go. Finally found your other base.
Yeah, it's just random to send units to a random location, and if you find something, send the rest of the guys there.
Yeah. So I normally do that with just bases, like rather than random locations, just send it around all the bases because normally you find there, but you just don't find the Terrans with their floating buildings half the time, which is annoying. So yeah. So I think we've probably got time to go one more if you're up for that.
Yeah, sure.
I think
maybe we can choose the game against Perfect Split because that would be a ZVP, and I guess it's also choosing the last build order we haven't seen so far.
Okay, I'm loading that one up now. But yeah, I think your last build order is the 4 base, isn't it?
It's the standard 4-gate push, yeah.
4 base, 4 gate, same thing.
Yeah, and I'm quite happy that Perfect Split returned to the ladder after a few months of break.
Yeah,
because it was an awesome bot and still is.
Yeah, it's really well made. I think we spoke with Chippy a few weeks back about it, and it's pretty good the way he controls his units. It's completely completely sort of like one by one rather than controlling them in groups. So all the units are controlled individually, whereas it's to my mind that's such a harder way of doing things rather than controlling everything in groups. But it works out pretty well. But let me know when you're ready to go.
I'm ready.
Cool. Going in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so you're down here in the bottom left.
Yep.
So I know Perfect Split likes to expand pretty early.
And what kind of API is Perfect Split currently using? I remember he was using some weird API.
Yeah, he's using the Go API, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
It
actually
used to
playing
be
with that.
popular.
Yeah, I actually played with that quite a lot, and sort of like especially when it first came out. So, it's a very well made kind of library, and I like the language, but it's just not
Mhm.
as developed as other libraries. So it does suffer from the fact that you have to do everything pretty much yourself. So
Yeah, yeah. And since I'm now used to all the comfort stuff of Sharpie, I won't go back anymore for
yeah,
anything else. It's just so convenient to have.
yeah. Like I say, I might actually sort of like switch to doing something on that pretty soon, maybe for next season. But yeah, I'm tempted.
Yeah.
And Raf is going to give me weird looks for moving away from C++. I'm sorry. It's fine. Um, but yeah, no, certainly I need to do a lot more in Python. And that seems like a good idea. So yeah, going hatch first into pool with perfect split. I'm not sure perfect split really does a lot of different build orders, which is something which I think might kind of like hold him down a bit.
Yeah.
It's
I guess it's usually a lot of links and then transition into mutas.
yeah, yeah. It's basically get second base up, get things up to a certain level, and then
Yeah.
run into mutas. So I think we can see we've
Yeah.
chosen the 4-gate
Yeah.
proxy.
Yeah. And most of the other strategies have a negative overall value. So with the other strategies, I'm losing more than I'm winning, but with the 4-gate, I'm winning a lot more than with all the other strategies
Yeah,
combined. So that's the obvious choice there.
yeah. So you don't actually proxy the gateways; you just proxy the
Yeah,
buildings.
just proxying the pylon.
Yeah, so yeah,
Because proxying the gateways is even more all in. And as you saw on the graph there with the to do strategies, I want to have a follow up after a 4-gate into a macro game if the 4-gate does not succeed. And I think I can do that better with not proxying the gates as well.
yeah. So I mean, like for my part, I generally tend to proxy the gates because it's
Yeah,
easier.
I noticed that because most of the games against your bot is just
Yeah,
blocking
it,
gates
it's
and
going to
go for
change. It's going to change this week. I've been saying this every week that I'm going to have a new version out, and it's just been like time's gotten over me, and it's not had
yeah.
any time to do anything, which is annoying. Um, so yeah, uh, I see you got the research done. So you still actually produce units out of the gateways before you get the warp gate unit research done,
Yeah, yeah,
just to get down there and see if this can work.
yeah. Perfect Split already has quite a nice defensive unit
Yeah,
with
that's,
four queens there at the expansion.
and so many lings as well.
Yeah,
I think it's 32 lings and 6 queens. So we see it coming in,
yeah,
but
yeah. That's definitely not enough.
no,
Definitely not enough zealots there.
no. This is a great area to hold against lings if you can, and I think
Yeah,
you got the force fields up, but they're just in the wrong area.
yeah. So thankfully, a Perfect Split did not commit any further because he might have been
Yeah,
able to take out a lot of the army. And since he pulled back, I could save most of my units there, and I'm now able to reinforce them.
yeah. Looks like a bunch more units being warped in.
Yeah,
Um,
and I guess now because I saw he's just lings and queens, I have an adaptive algorithm that chooses what unit to warp in next based on what the enemy has to have the best unit composition. And since he already saw, okay, it's just lings and queens, he's just going zealot, zealot, zealot.
yeah. Well, looks like it's going to try again.
Yeah.
Again, but it looks like the lings are being
So
stuck by the queens up there, which is
yeah,
a
that
bit
certainly
unfortunate.
helps. But yeah, going in there into that small choke point is also maybe not the best idea.
I mean, if you can
Yeah,
hold that choke point with zealots and then hit
but
him with the
all the queens back there are
yeah,
shooting up against
yeah.
the
But
zealots.
if you've got stalkers there, generally will tend
Yeah.
to be very effective. So yeah,
So you should certainly not underestimate the queens. That's
no,
that's also something I do against Creepybot a lot, because Creepybot is even doing more queens than Perfect Split here. He usually has 20 queens or something like that. And
ow,
and I always think when I'm watching replays, yeah, nice. I have a nice army. I'm moving across the map, and I'm going to wipe him out. But then there are suddenly queens everywhere, and I'm just getting uh, wiped the floor with
yeah.
because those queen damage you should not underestimate.
It's rather unfair, Zerg having queens.
Yeah, and it's especially with good transfusion,
Yeah,
then they are almost impossible to kill with just a pure gateway army.
yeah. I mean, like that's one of the big sort of like difference between obviously bot micro and human micro. You're going to get perfect transfusers every time.
Yeah.
So, but
So
yeah,
so you will see another downside of Meta AI, I would say. It's just going fully commit,
yeah.
fully all in,
I mean,
never
never
surrender.
surrender, never give up. Just
Yeah.
fully commit this, boys. We're going in.
But this time it looks like
It,
I was able to wipe most of the
yeah,
Zerglings, and now it's just queens without any Zerglings.
and the queens are actually blocking off the Zerglings from getting in as well,
Yeah, but they
which
are
is
using a lot of transfusions now.
yeah, rather
Most of my
low.
zealots are not able to attack there.
It
So
looks like you might make it through.
yeah, they are shredding through it.
Yeah, those sentry shields as well were obviously very
Yeah,
effective.
the sentry was really nice there.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
for
I
a while you
think
had
I finally got through.
yeah, for a while you had the sentry on the front line, which is not obviously ideal, but
Yeah, those minor things to fix
yeah.
takes you ages.
And now you're going through and entirely massacring his workers.
Yeah, he's still ahead or equal with the supply, but now
Yeah,
just workers, I guess.
but I think certainly on army supplies a long way behind. On worker
Yeah,
supplies, he's
yeah.
trying to catch up with you.
So it looks like the never surrender strategy was, at least this time, a
It's
good choice, even if it didn't look like that.
yeah,
In
just
the
keep going.
Yeah, yeah, but
So,
a lot of times it's just not working like that. It
no,
will just constantly try and try and try, and will not succeed.
yeah, I think you got quite a nice little choke point there with obviously the sentries and the so that's on
Yeah,
front, and that was blocking out all the Zerglings. So yeah, that was
yeah. Having the right unit composition certainly helps there a lot.
yeah,
So just pumping out stalkers would have been a nightmare against that composition. But having zealots and some sentries and some stalkers in the back for range, this worked quite well, I guess.
yeah. I think having stalkers against Zerglings is a really bad idea generally.
Yeah, at least if you have not enough zealots in the front to block off the
Yeah.
zerglings.
Right. So I think it's just the main base now to finish off. I don't think there's much left there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
might set that going for you. Let's just march up here, take everything out, kill those horrible Zergs. But no, certainly a very good game there, and taking down a perfect split really well. So yeah, I think that's about all the replays we've got time for at the moment. But yeah, so like what's obviously you've shown your future planned milestones for Mad AI. Do you have any more plans in terms of like adding more kind of like learning into there or anything like that, or any more inputs into the neural network?
Yeah, so I want to have everything that you saw on the graphs, all those decisions that had to be made. I want those decisions to be made from other special neural networks that have to be trained and that have to have a certain architecture as well.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't be just based on yes or no parameter or anything like that. But yeah, it's hard to acquire all the training data the more complex the decision tree gets,
yeah,
because at each different uh, junction there you're doubling or even tripling the amount of training data you have, because or you need, because there are 3 different games from that one junction, for instance, there. And yeah, that's making it hard to implement right now, because as I said in the beginning, a lot of bots are not downloadable and a lot of bots I cannot train against locally.
yeah.
And unfortunately, those bots that are downloadable are just so good, like Micro Machine, that it's not worth training against them because the outcome is always a loss.
Yeah.
So I need,
So I think
just
that's a
need
very,
a
very good
bot.
argument for having more downloadable bots, certainly.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll try and see what I can do for this year's tournament. But we'll still have discussions about that.
Yeah.
Um,
So the optimal solution is still that every bot author is making their bots downloadable on their
yeah,
own for their own choice. But yeah,
yeah. We'll see. We need to have some discussions over that, and unfortunately, it's one of those decisions that you can never please everyone with.
yeah.
But
And
anyway,
maybe a good prize pool for the next tournament will also encourage.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so thank you very much for coming on. It's been really interesting to learn more about MadBots,
You're
and
welcome.
yeah, so and obviously best of luck for getting into the tournament. I think we got the final week next week, so hopefully you should
Yeah.
be safe. But
Thanks.
so thanks for coming on. Everyone, next week will be the final week of the ladder. So if all the bot authors who are going to qualify for the tournament could come on, we'll be doing the group draw next week, next Sunday at 8. So thanks, MadMan, for joining us. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and see you next week.
See you.